game week. Everyone's pretty excited. Practice today, practice tomorrow, and hit the road. So guys are running around with a different kind of energy this week.
Hey, Mitch, I kind of wonder, looking at Arizona, how do you kind of approach that trip? I know last year you used it as a chance to get a lot of guys innings on the mound and kind of play a lot of guys. Is that kind of the approach, or are you hoping to establish your go-to lineup? Where are you at with that as you approach the week?
Well, I think we've done plenty of competition in the fall and also here just in the January and February. It's been beautiful. The weather's been outstanding. So we've been outside every day, and our arms have been thrown. We've been scrimmaging a lot of situational stuff. I think we got a good handle of where everybody sits as far as the depth chart at this point, barring health. And, really you're going to go down there. And I think our guys have done a good job in the weight room, in the training room, and building up so that they're going to be out on the field as much as possible, the guys that need to go out there and compete. So, as you go through this thing, I feel like this year we have a much better understanding on the position player side, what we have and how these guys can go out and compete. So nice thing is I believe we have solid depth with our position players. When you look at the outfield and say, we always play through different scenarios. Hey, if something happens here, who can jump in and take care of the baseball? And the nice thing is we have a handful of guys that we're very excited about if they're out there in the lineup. I mentioned this to the guys the other day, is that when I do sit down and try to create mock lineups, it's difficult because there are a lot of great position players that handle the ball on defense and also put together high quality at bats. So, as every time we work through putting up a lineup, we'll sit there and look at a guy who's not, maybe in the lineup, and you go, man, how is this guy not playing? Based on how we've seen these guys perform and their competitive nature. So, but I think we have a good handle on who's going to be running out there. I think the game, the score is going to dictate getting other guys in. I'd love to have an opportunity for guys to get that experience, getting down there, more fans being allowed in the stands again. Knock on wood, we're going to have some normalcy with just the atmosphere of baseball this year.
Are you keeping those position battles in your lineup kind of holding that until game day, or is there anything you can shed light on us? Because I know there's several positions that are kind of up for grabs heading into camp here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to always approach it is that all those positions they're always up for grabs, right? Is so that there's no complacency within our guys. If you're the best guy and you are, you should be running around with confidence. But at the same time, we talk about staying humble and staying hungry. Sometimes when you get so far out in front of everyone, you put it in cruise control, and I don't think that should ever happen. So, we can talk a lot about all the guys that are out there, but I probably won't lay out a lineup right now until opening day. I mean, that's even for the guys. I like everyone being in the mindset of, hey, I don't know if I'm starting today or not, but what I do know is that I'm ready for whatever comes my way. If you need me at second, if you need me at short, if you need me in left, if you need me to pitch, whatever it is, I'm ready to go do it. And I think I'm also following the mentality that we've had from, several of our upperclassmen that have come to us and said, I don't care what we got to do. I want to win. Wherever you need me, I'm ready to go. And so rather than saying, hey, we've even talked to some of those guys who's starting on what day or what role, and all of them say, Coach, you don't have to worry about telling me that. Just, let me know when you need me in the game and I'll be ready. And I keep hearing that from a lot of our older guys, which is I do believe a great piece of culture that is growing here. So all right, let's do that.
Coach, outside of the wins and losses, when you go into an opening weekend like this, what kind of dictates a successful first couple of games? You know, what are you looking to accomplish over those first few games?
Obviously, finishing the game with the W, yes, is important. But also, I want to see that our guys are going out there with conviction in what they're doing, with confidence, and with a baseball IQ that they know what they're out there to get done. They know their opponent. As we're prepping for the teams right now, you can do all that, but New Mexico has a couple new members of their staff, so they may run things a bit differently. First couple of games of the year, guys make a lot of changes throughout the summer and the fall, and so you're not necessarily going to know exactly what you're getting into, but what can you control is your own effort, attitude. And I think that we've been doing a great job preparing for those things, to make sure that, as rigorous as our practices can get, I think that they can handle fans in the stands. But it's opening weekend. There's always going to be, hopefully, those butterflies in your belly, just of excitement. You're going to be an extra hop in everyone's step, running around. I assume a lot of the arms are going to go out there and try to throw just a little bit harder because of the adrenaline. But really what I want to see is the effort and attitude matched with confidence. When something goes wrong, which it's baseball, things always go wrong, things go wrong. I want to make sure that their head is up and they're moving forward to the next pitch, as opposed to dwelling on it. That's one thing we've talked a ton about, through these last 6 months, is how we respond to adversity. And so I'm really going to be looking at that. And I think the wins and losses take care of themselves.
Mitch, has there been any talking about adversity? Have you lost anybody? Have you had any injuries, or do you have everybody that you expect or hope to have here?
We've had a couple guys get a little banged up. I can't go into detail about necessarily who or what. That'll just play its way out. But just some minor setbacks for some guys, and we're still waiting to see how some guys are doing. But that's something you're always going to get, just unfortunate events, a guy getting a little dinged up. I'd say the vast majority of our guys are in really good shape. That's one thing, I look at their bodies as they're taking batting practice, and you're seeing baseballs, it's January, February in Corvallis. Balls aren't supposed to be jumping out of the yard or going over the scoreboard or hitting off the street. But we're seeing that happen quite frequently. Our guys have put on a lot of weight, a lot of muscle mass, a lot of like rotational power, and their bodies look good and they're looking mobile because they're putting in all the work, and we got the right resources for that. So I'd say for the most part, we're pretty fit right now.
You said earlier that a couple vets came to you and said, "Hey, I don't care where I play. Would you let me know when you need me?" and that sort of a thing. Are you okay sharing one or two of those guys who maybe is setting that culture and who came to you and said that?
Yeah. A few of those guys being Pfennigs, Jerpy, Verb, those guys. And it's exciting hearing that from the arms, right? And guys, like, typically you can find guys that are going to be sitting there trying to battle it out on positioning, and, and from a guy like Mitch, who's going to be pitching at the end of our games. But he also is prepared to go out there and pitch if he needs to be there in the 6th or the 7th. Whatever inning you need me, and that you think that I'm going to help, this group win games, that's what I'm going to do. It's pretty pretty special when you see those guys coming back, wanting to come back, for the 6th year, or Finn, have an opportunity to go play professional baseball, but wanting to come back here. And not only doing that, but changing the mentality. You can see it in his eyes when he goes out there, not getting sped up one bit, having conviction in what he's throwing. But it's almost like a great balance of being selfish and selfless, being selfish in their work and making sure that they handle their job, but also being selfless and saying, hey, I am here to make sure that I can do whatever possible to help the guy next to me and this clubhouse be successful. We had our annual diamond dinner, and Mitch stood up and said a few words in front of the group, and you could see the emotion that he held and his gratitude that he had towards our community here, and just how genuine it was when he's thanking people and telling them how special this place has been to him. And you can see it grow, like in him and all the other guys. But for freshmen, it's one thing. They're still trying to get a handle of what this place is about, and they haven't necessarily all experienced a ton of adversity. But Mitch, a guy like Mitch, or Finn, all the guys that are junior, seniors, they've had a couple of years under their belt of, dealing with hardship of the schedule and the ups and downs of a season. Some of those guys have, had to deal with the COVID scenario and losing a season, and some guys having to deal with injury and this, that, and the other. But when you see guys that have gone through a ton of hardship and they still have that heart of gold and they're still going out there to push forward, it's a pretty special deal. So I'm excited to watch him, Mitch, and all those our older guys go out and compete. But also we have exciting group of young talent as well that's going to go out there and show some pretty big tools this year.
Mitch, I like to ask you about all your crazy lineups. Is it your plan to be as I don't know what word you want me to use, versatile, or are you going to mix it up like you did last year, or do you hope to kind of settle in on a lineup or two based on staff and such that you kind of write out most of the year?
Like from last year, they would never plan to mix and match. I think it just had to do with a lot of the personnel that we had, how our student athletes responded being in different spots. I mean, sometimes it's almost, it takes a different guy to handle being in the 3-4 hole or hitting in the top 4 spots. That sometimes people can put added pressure. I thought a lot of our guys actually performed really well when they were down in the order. We broke down opportunities for runners in scoring position, and the 2 spots that had the most opportunities for runners in scoring position was our 4 hole and our 8 hole, right? So the 6-7 guys were getting on base and providing opportunity in there at a very high rate. And so sometimes just moving guys around, you're trying to find a good mix, and you got to make sure that you have confidence. I think that a lot of the guys that we have right now, I would love to go into the season and say, hey, this is what the lineup looks like, and it's going to look pretty similar to this each and every day, because that's consistency. That's what you want. But that comes from the players being able to do that. And I think there's a mix of things last year that made it hard to have consistency. I think health was one of them. We had a handful of guys that, whether it was soft tissue injuries or it could be mental or physical, of reasons they were just having a hard time performing. But I think our guys learned a lot from that, and they also want consistency with how they play and how we put this stuff together. So I would like to really, rather than sit there and try to figure it out each and every day and go, man, they got this situation going on, but a lot of that just plays into health as well.
Coach, kind of a logistics question for you here. When you're down in Arizona for almost 2 weeks, how much are you able to practice on your off days? And then also how much kind of time do you set aside for guys to focus on what they need to get done in the classroom?
Yeah, two really important pieces right there. Number one being the classroom. We just actually brought on our director of student athlete development, Braden Wells, former Beeve, and one of his big focuses is making sure the guys are staying on top of their business in the classroom. Dar Tucknott, our academic supervisor, has lined up everything with the guys and made sure that they are prepared for this trip. While we're down there, we will be doing study hall every day, right? That regardless of age, all of our guys are going to be getting together in the conference room and putting some togetherness study hall time in. And I think that's important, and no different than us coaches. We're going to be down there putting in our study hall time too, watching film and breaking stuff down. So, it's nice doing that together. You can always, especially for the new guys, the young ones, making sure that they understand, just because we're leaving campus doesn't mean we neglect our academics. That just is giving us an opportunity to really be adults and take care of business and make sure we're putting in the time, because on game day, especially at a noon game, you're getting up and you're probably heading over to the field at 9 o'clock. So prior to that, you're getting breakfast, and then you're getting back probably about 4:30. You're showering, you go into the gym, and you're trying to sit back and break down what just happened on that day. So where's the time to study? You make the time to study and you prioritize it. And I think that's where also being where we're at in Surprise, it's going to limit a lot of distractions so that the guys can get after their academics. Practicing, we have some things working right now. City Surprise is really helping us on those off days where we can go to practice. Got some good connections down there as well. But this is something that I really believe, those days that are on game days, that batting practice time, that's not like just get warm and fuzzies before you go into the game. That's work, that's practice. So you're constantly working on something, a way to get better and maintain your strengths. It can be very routine where you go out and you're, taking 10 ground balls at shortstop, but I want to make sure that we're taking ground balls, simulating that we're holding runners on and then taking ground balls. I want to make sure we're working at double play depth and we're playing catch with the right people. Like even our catch play that we do every day pregame, has a stopwatch to it. We're making sure that we're conditioning our arm. If you watch our catchers, when they're playing catch and working their way in, when they get to 90 feet, they're usually focusing on footwork to third and like back picks to first, simulating that. They're rolling balls or simulating blocking a ball and going and picking it up off the ground and hitting their partner in the catch in the chest. And then they're doing quick catch. So everything that we do before the game should be not only just maintenance, but it should be, developing our opportunities for growth. So, but the game, there's nothing out there better than a game to help our guys improve. See the competition, the more you're in that realm, I think that the better you're going to be down the road. So right now we have 1 week less of games this season because of the conference tournament. So everyone's trying to fit 55, 56 in with 1 less week. So there's going to be more games going on. So you really got to pay attention to, rest and recovery and everything that comes in between to make sure guys are healthy to get out there. It also probably, Joe gives guys opportunity to get in the lineup, switch it up a little bit from time to time, but we just have to be really good about paying attention to all those little things, whether it's the academics, the routines, the maintenance of our strengths, and then keep finding opportunities to get better.
Hey, Mitch, with regard to COVID and all the protocols, has that loosened up a bit for you guys? Has that changed? Do you still have to test? Is travel still, unusual? And like, is your locker room clubhouse? Are you back in one clubhouse? Like, could you lead us through some of the stuff that's going on still with that?
Yeah, I'll try to give you what I can give you. So I don't foresee anyone wearing space helmets when we jump on planes or anything like that. I know at one point early on, everyone's like, "Are we going to have to wear these big space helmets when we travel?"
Hazmat suits.
Yeah, so you're not at contact or something like that. Now, you know, without saying specifically numbers or any names, a lot of our guys, because of the COVID protocols, have been vaccinated and boosted and are making sure that they are going to be in a good spot to go out and compete. What you obviously is scary is, those that are not vaccinated do need to test every week. Everyone else that is up to date, Oregon State just put out something saying that the boost is not required here yet, or I think for another month or so. But a lot of our guys have been actively trying to make sure that they are not putting themselves at risk of getting sick. And also that goes to, our bubble. Like, yes, all of our guys are in the same clubhouse. Getting everyone in there is important for culture. And, whether or not some of our guys have already been sick or not, I think they understand how bad they want to go out and play these games. And so protecting that bubble is extremely important. I mean, really, our schedules are very busy, and it prevents us from going out and doing other things or jumping in, to other environments that might not be great for the group. So, the roster sizes moving up to 40 as well, I think allows for everyone to above the 35, those other guys to say, hey, I got to be ready and I got to be smart, because at any point in time, if someone, gets sick and has to quarantine for 5 days, I need to be ready to jump in. But I do think our guys have been doing a great job making sure that they're eliminating as many possible hiccups that they can.
Okay, we'll leave it up. One more question for Coach.
I guess just kind of, big picture or just generically speaking, what do you like most about this team so far? I mean, you've talked about the chemistry, which is so important, the culture and all that, and you can go on and on about your pitching and your, so on. But what is the vibe you get from this team? What do you like most about this group so far?
Just got to pick one thing.
No, I don't think you ever just pick one. Yeah,
no, I know. Me. I can get going. I really enjoy the communication and like the genuine care that these guys have, especially from our, like I said, from our upperclassmen, the guys that are still here, the guys that myself and Dor and Gip have got a chance to really get to know over those years. Like, you see the beauty of college baseball, getting to be with some guys, for multiple years. It's different in professional baseball. Like, you might have a guy for a couple weeks, a couple months, or a year, but very rare to have someone, for that long. And so you're trying to really influence their lives for the better, teach them baseball, teach them life. And so, having built some strong relationships with these older guys, take Greg Fuchs, for example. Greg is loved in the clubhouse, cares about the guys, extremely selfless. Did Greg see a lot of playing time last year? No. But like I've talked to him each of these last few years, and we have a very open and honest conversation about where we're at. He knows he's got really good guys around him, but Greg is hungry and he works. And every time I've ever given him some kind of constructive criticism, he's worked his butt off and gotten better. What we've been seeing him do running around the outfield. I mean, you saw what he did last year and like being prepared at the end of the season and going to play in the regional. So like him and Dernetti and Boyd, like it warms your heart seeing those guys go out and do what they did after not having much playing time all year. And so that builds a lot of trust, and it allows for that communication to continue to happen. You know, when you say something that they're really listening. And so I would just say I'm impressed with our older guys and how they handle things. And it's not saying that they're going to necessarily go out and be in the lineup every day. There's a lot of really good players running around, but that's not always what it's about. It's making the best version of yourself and being ready. And so I've just been impressed with guys like Fuchs, been impressed with guys like Dernetti, been impressed with guys like Boyd. I had an open and honest conversation talking with Meckler and Melton and Wheeler, three older guys who have been playing ball for a long time. Two of them that have been here, and Wade's got a great story as well as far as like where he's come from and how he's like built his way up here as a Beeve. Is talking to them and keeping them in check. So I think we all appreciate honest conversations, and this group can handle them. So sometimes you have those tough combos, but they really haven't been tough because our guys are receptive. They want to learn, they want to get better, and they want to like help the collective whole. So what's the word? You could say communication, you could say togetherness, you could say just growing up. You can see a lot of these guys really growing up. I think handling the truth and then fighting to make yourself better, face it head on is really important in life development. So seeing a lot of that.
So it sounds like you had a chance to kind of go to the next phase of your career, go professional and that sort of a thing. Could you lead us through that decision and why you elected to return?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I just wanted to come back and ultimately just win. What's that? Oh, okay. I want to come back and win. The guys in the locker room are a big part of it as well. A lot of special guys in there. And with the COVID stuff that's happened in my first 3 years here and being a freshman and stuff, not pitching as much, I just want to come back and experience a full year at Oregon State with a full Goss Stadium and experience it all and win. So that's kind of the ultimate decision.
But you had been in contact with teams that were interested in maybe signing you as a free agent or something?
Yeah, there was a few, and I had opportunity, but I just felt my best interest was to come back, and that was a decision I made.
And how would you describe where you're at now heading into this season? What's different about where you're at now compared to maybe where you were at earlier in your career?
I'd just say the mentality piece. I've gained more confidence on the mound, and then overall with my off-speed pitches, I've got a lot better over the past 6-7 months. So I've just been continuing to work on that, and I know those pitches will help me a lot better this year. So.
What's changed about your mentality?
I'd just say it's the belief part, just more confidence. To think of the work I've put in over the past year since the season was over. I just know I'm a lot better and a lot stronger than I was last year. So it's a confidence part.
Mitch had mentioned something a couple of weeks ago when we talked to him about you working on the tilt with your fastball, I believe. Could you, what was he talking about? Like, what have you changed with that, and what does that mean to the
Tilt, yeah. So I'm 6'7". I throw from a high arm slot. It's way downhill. So it's like a vertical approach angle. So it's coming, you'd say, out of the treetop. So my fastball is effective when it's down in the zone. And that's something I've been honing in and working on a lot this past offseason. Because when it's down in the zone, it's hard for hitters to square it up just because of the angle it's coming at. So that's the tilt, you'd say, just the angle it's coming at.
So going over the top and getting the ball
Yeah.
to just go low. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you altered any? Oh, have you altered any other pitches, or you? Was the main focus of you? Like, what was kind of you beyond that? What have you worked on in the off season?
I've added a new slider, and that's gonna be a big piece to my success this year. I just had 2 off-speed pitches my past 3 years here, so adding another pitch with more depth and more horizontal movement and more speed, that's gonna be a big success. So I'm excited about that.
Jake, this pitching staff obviously had a really big year last year, but with all the guys coming back and then the additions to the roster this year, what's the ceiling this year? You know, how much better can you guys be?
I think Omaha will answer that. I think we left a lot of things like untold last year because we were really good, but we also didn't reach our max potential, I feel like. And so this group this year has the same amount of potential, even more. So it's kind of just if we reach that, and I know we will. So
Now, is that an Omaha caliber mustache you got going on there?
I don't know. You tell me.
Is this an early phase mustache, or is this what we're going to get all year?
I'm planning to keeping it for opening weekend, so we're just gonna let it ride. There's a few of us right now that have them, so we're just gonna let them go.
I like it. What are you looking most from this team as the season starts and being in Arizona, kind of the first chance to get out and see the group against competition? What are you looking for out of this team?
Just competitive mindset. We've had that the entire fall and the entire spring leading up to this far. We're just ready to get after someone else. We're a very hungry group, humble group. We work our butts off, so we're very excited to get out there and do it against someone else.
We keep hearing about the new strength coach and all that, and it sounds like perhaps you've added bulk or strength and redefined some of your body. Is that so? What have you changed, and has that affected your velo at all?
It definitely helped me maintain it. I feel stronger. I haven't gained any weight, but my mobility and like my quick twitch muscles have gotten a lot better. And Mike, he's got all of our bodies feeling really good. We run more. We're in better shape. So, yeah, he's been good so far.
Obviously coming off a big debut season for you, what was kind of your how do you approach your next season? What do you work on in the off season? What's kind of your primary focus there heading into year number 2?
For me, it was just trying to stay as healthy as possible, keeping my body as strong as possible. So all off season and this fall and this winter, really working hard to get stronger, stay healthier, feel better. So my body feels better longer into the season. And on the field wise, just working on things that I found holes in my ability last year, working on those small things and just being better for this upcoming season.
Do you have a couple examples of some of those small things that you worked through?
This summer and this fall, I really worked on hitting the inside pitch. I've always been really confident with the ball out over the plate, and this past year they really tried to bust me inside. So I've just been working on that and being better and more prepared to spin on that inside pitch.
You said you kind of worked on staying strong all season and changing. Did you get worn down a little last year? Is that part of the reason, or is it just looking ahead?
Mostly looking ahead. I mean, it's a grueling season, of course. I mean, it's nothing like the major leagues where we're playing 162, but just trying to keep my body in the best shape as possible throughout the season. So I feel like I have more energy at the end of the season.
It's obviously going to be a new look infield with some of the departures and obviously behind the plate. How have you seen guys kind of settle in there, and how would you evaluate where that is here heading into the season?
Yeah, our infield is definitely going to be completely different all the way around. We got a lot of young guys that have a huge possibility of filling those roles. We have a lot of depth in all of our infield guys. Right now, I believe that we can put out 2 completely different infields and still win all of our games. All of our guys are really good with their hands, and we can all swing the bat. So it's going to be interesting to see how things turn out and who takes advantage of their situations.
You mentioned the young guys. I know that Travis has kind of caught some eyes in practice so far, but who else has kind of stood out to you that might be new to this team?
Travis is obviously one of the best Toolsy players I've ever seen in my life. And Jabin Trosky, I believe, is one of our best infielders fielding wise. I think he's got some room to grow hitting wise, but also he takes some of the best competitive at bats I've seen out of a freshman. I think Kyle Dernetti, he's not a young guy, but I think that he's going to have a chance to fill a big role this year. Paul Myro is a redshirt freshman, and I think he also has a chance to play. So it's just going to be who can hit and who's going to be able to field every ground ball.
Did you say Travis is the best toolsy player?
Yes, he's
like 5-tool.
The 5-tool player. Yeah, if you watch him stretch, he's one of the most, like, he has zero mobility, but he can fly, he hits, he fields it, he throws it. It's kind of funny when we're all stretching down the line, he can barely get into a squat position, but he's still one of the fastest guys on our team.
What is, lead me through something he's done this spring where you've just been like, or not spring, during camp, where your jaw drops, or it's been stunning?
I mean, it's almost every day with doing our scrimmages. I mean, his bat to ball barrel percentage is the highest on the team, I believe. And everything he hits is hard and always seems to find a hole.
Where are you at on that barrel percentage? You put the bat on the ball.
Yeah, I believe I'm up there. I'd say I'm probably pretty close to him, if not more. I've felt really, really good the last few weeks in the box and having some good success. So I'm ready to transfer that into the season.
Are you hoping to add a little more power this year? I mean, obviously you hit for power a little bit last year, but do you want to do that more? Is that something on your list, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. That's not something I'm going to completely worry about. I'm going to let the homers come when they come. I believe I have the power, strength to hit 12 to 15 if the stars align, but I'm not going to worry about that as well. I'm just going to do what I do best, put the ball play with hard contact, and do whatever I need to do to help my team win.
Coach Canham mentioned that even in the winter, some guys were hitting balls over the scoreboard and into the parking lot. Have you been one of those guys? And if not, who have you kind of seen? Who have you kind of seen take a step forward with their power?
Yeah, I mean, I've put a few balls in the parking lot. Not a ton, but obviously Jacob Melton is absolutely insane when it comes to power. Seems like every time he steps in the box during BP, he's always putting one over the scoreboard. TJ Wheeler's a new kid this year. He's got insane pop as well. Travis, he's got a lot of pop too, but it's more BP. I know that during the summer he only hit 1 home run, but I think he's got a lot of potential to hit more than that during the season this year. Justin Boyd's got some good pop this year. He's been doing well. And we got a little two-way player, Justin Thorstenson. He's just a really strong kid, and he takes pretty impressive BP as well.
Does Melton look like Melton before his surgery? Would you say he's back?
I would say he's probably 95% back. I think that his body wise, he's feeling really good. He's starting over in the box right now. So with every at bat that he's taken so far this spring, he's gotten better. And I think going into the season that he's going to be a very scary player to pitch to.
You talked about, you think that you guys can roll out two different lineups and beat, win every game. That obviously, that's an incredible asset to have and speaks to your depth. One also might say that it has the potential to lead to problems, guys feeling like they should play or, and not getting enough opportunities. But it sounds like that's not an issue because of maybe your guys' chemistry or whatever. Why is that not a problem? Why is this team suited for that being okay?
I think that our team, our bond already is really tight. And I know a lot of the kids are really pushing hard to try and earn that spot, but we're all pulling for each other. And we all know that we're all going to have a special role on this team, whether it's being a backup or starting a game. I know Mitch likes to roll guys in late in the game for better situations. So everyone knows that even if they start the game on the bench, they have a chance to roll into the game later in the game. So I know last year there's a few guys that really wanted to play, and they talked to coach about it, but Darwin Barney's done a great job with us, showing us that we each have a role no matter what the situation. So I think we all are in the same mindset and all are ready to get going with the season.
Who's the toughest pitcher to face, or who has been the toughest pitcher in camp?
Cooper Jerpy. I would pay to hit against anyone else but him. But he's been nasty. His last outing, he goes 6 innings, 14 Ks, no hits. So pretty impressive, and definitely a first-round draft pick, high first-round draft pick.
When you look back to last year at this time, kind of coming off the rehab and all that stuff, how farther along, where are you at right now compared to last year and all of that stuff? Like, how are you feeling physically?
It's funny you say that because I was talking to Dora about that literally yesterday. I just feel like I'm a marathon ahead of where I was last year. I was so worried last year about just my health, and right now I'm in such a good spot mentally and physically. I'm super happy about it. So yeah.
I guess not having that concern, it just is like liberating. I guess, how would you describe, how that affects everything?
Totally. It's just a huge relief. Exactly like you said, it's very liberating. Just the anxiety, surgery is really hard to go through, and just the confidence piece is hard to get back. And I finally feel like myself again. Last year, this time, I really didn't feel like myself, especially mentally. I was just struggling to get through the process of surgery, and now I feel like I'm over it, and I feel great.
Yeah, Coach had kind of said that you were one of the guys who approached him and said, "Hey, it doesn't matter what my role is, or you use me as you need to use me." But it also sounds like you're the de facto closer right now. How are you approaching that role, and what makes you suited for that?
That's exactly what I said to Canham. I really don't care when I pitch. When he needs to give me the ball, give me the ball. Whether that's a closing role, whether that's a mid-relief goal role, whether that's get one guy a weekend. So, I think that's what the approach of all of our pitching staff is. And that's the only approach you really can have. Roles they're important, but at the same time, it's pitching, just getting outs. And that's really all it is.
You've been kind of a back of the bullpen kind of guy throughout your career. How much do you kind of thrive off of those high leverage situations and the pressure that comes with them?
I've always been the kind of guy where I always wanted the ball in those big situations. I don't know whether it's just my personality, but I think I really play baseball because I love to compete. And I think that is such a adrenaline situation that it's just like, that's a high for me, going out there in situations where there's runners on second, third, less than 2 outs, and your job is to get that guy. And I just love that competitive aspect. And I've always been that way. And I don't know, maybe it's just the way I'm built, but that's just how it's always been.
Did you have an opportunity to go pro? And if you did, why did you elect to come back?
there were certain opportunities that I could have pursued, but I had long talks with my parents, with Dora, with Canham, and another year of college. You can't say no to that. And I also love this program. This program has done so much for me, and and my teammates is probably the biggest thing that brought me back. Is there's so many guys on this team that I love and I respect so much, and I just wanted to go through it one more time.
Now, if Mully was Gramps last year after being in the program for 5 years, what does that make you entering your 6th year?
My mom sent me an article the other day, and I think somebody called me a senior citizen. So I think that's what it makes me now. I think there's a old man joke every single day, and it's kind of a funny running joke that Canham says it at least once or twice a day. And I'm not sure if he notices it yet, but we've all noticed it, and it's just a fun joke. It really doesn't bug me. I'm just wise, I guess.
You've got to lean into that. You can't run away from it. What's the best one you've heard so far?
Of the jokes? I think senior citizen is probably my favorite, because I just think of myself going out to the mountain in a walker or something like that.
Has Mike and the new strength program, what effects have you seen for that in your body and maybe with your what you throw?
Oh, I feel great. One of my goals going into this last year was losing about 10 pounds of weight. Then I ended up losing 10 pounds of fat and gaining 3 or 4 pounds of muscle. So Mike's been great. He's really just weaved himself right into our program. A lot of the same values and morals that we all share, hardworking, dedicated, and everybody loves him. I mean, everybody's feeling great. You can see it with the low amount of injuries that we have so far, and we're just hoping to continue that.
You and Mully kind of had that 1-2 punch thing going for a while at the end of games, and now that he's no longer there, how different is it in the bullpen?
It's always just the next guy up. There's so many great talented arms that we have, and I'm so excited for you guys, because these guys put in so much work. I'm so excited for you guys to see them. It's not really going to be a 1-2 punch. It's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be a whole lot of punches. Relentless bullpen, and I'm really excited for you guys to see some of the super talented arms we have.
Speaking of talented arms, in what ways have you seen Cooper mature and improve? Because everybody keeps talking about how I think Garret just said he's a first-round pick. He's sitting on a first-round pick. How have you seen him change over the last year or two?
It's funny because I see Coop as that little freshman that came in, and he was my roommate when I was a senior. And, I'm so happy for him, the way that he has matured so much. And he's always been such a mature guy. He really just handles his business. And you can see it with the way he's throwing now. He's just so confident. He knows that he's put in every bit of work, and, he really has put in that work. And I'm so excited, just like all the other arms, that he's gonna be a really, really, really good guy for us this year.
Now, how do you get stuck with a rookie as a roommate? What did you do?
Well, we just had an open room, and they just start throwing guys at you. They have a list of names that need places to stay, and we ended up picking Coop, and it was such a good decision because his personality is phenomenal, and I think that's part of the reason why he's so confident, and that's why he's such a good pitcher. Is he's just so outgoing.
Yeah, could you elaborate on his personality? We don't get a chance to hang out with him.
It's a quiet confidence for sure. He's so humble. He rarely ever talks about himself, but the second that you get to know him, he breaks out of his shell. And that's one of the things that I've enjoyed so much about kind of being the older guy the last couple of years, is watching those freshman guys come out of their shell.
I feel like the answer to this probably has something to do with Omaha, but being at Oregon State for so long and having accomplished so much already, what else is there to accomplish before you leave?
Yeah, you hit it on the head there. That national championship. I think for me, what drives me every day is giving those younger guys the experiences that I've had and showing them that it's possible that we can do that. And just how amazing the feeling of walking on that field in Omaha when there's 35,000 people in the stands rooting for you. So hoisting that trophy at the end of the year is that number one goal. And I want to give those guys that experience, the same one that I had, the same one that Nick Madrigal, Trevor Larnick, Michael Gretler, Adley Rutschman showed me. So
Garrett had mentioned that he thinks, there's two different infields and they both could start at any time and beat most teams. That's obviously a luxury, but it also has the potential to be, guys could be like, why am I not playing? And then you hear about you going to coach and saying, I don't care where I throw, just if you need me, let me know. If not, that's fine. What is it about that mentality in this program? Because I think that's pretty unusual with so much depth and so many guys chasing professional dreams. How do you check that? And what does it say about the program that guys have that kind of, team above me sort of thing?
I think it's just really looking at the bigger picture. Oregon State baseball is bigger than yourself. And the second that you're ready to be that guy out there is the second that you'll be out there. And the coaches, we just have trust in them, knowing that they're gonna put the best 9 out there for that situation. And we do everything we can to be part of that 9. And whatever happens after that is just your role. And I think that that's just part of the culture that Canham has put into this program and the culture that I've been trying to uphold for the last 5 years. So I think that's really what it is.
Who's been the hardest guy to get out consistently in camp?
Oh, it's been Trav for sure. Travis Spinzana. So he's been very, very difficult to get out. We sit there and we talk about it every single time, how we're going to approach throwing to him, and we're still sitting here in shambles, not knowing what to do.
And he just sprays the ball around, or what is it? I mean, we haven't gotten a chance to see him swing the bat at all. So what are we gonna see?
I think what separates him, and I've had plenty of conversations with him about it, is his approach. His approach is it's ever changing. And one time you'll start in this way, and then he'll understand that you started in that way, and he'll change his approach the next time he faces you. And he's just got such a good baseball IQ that it's hard to throw to him because it feels like he's one step ahead of you the entire time.
How would you describe his personality, like maybe away from the field?
He's very outgoing. He was really easy to warm up to. And I mean, his personality is one of my favorites on the team for sure.